Have you ever wondered why some men would cross oceans and risk everything for a woman, while others barely lift a finger, no matter how much she gives? This question penetrates the human psyche, unraveling the hidden forces behind love, attraction, and commitment. It isn't about beauty, luck, or playing games. It's about something far more primal, rooted in the unconscious mind, where ancient archetypes silently shape a man's devotion. In this video, we'll uncover the psychology that Carl Jung revealed, truths that explain why some women are adored effortlessly while others feel invisible despite their sacrifices. You'll discover the 3 key archetypes that awaken a man's instinct to protect, prioritize, and commit, not out of guilt, but from an inner calling he can't ignore. Stick with us to learn why giving more doesn't always win his heart, how self-respect trumps endless effort, and why mystery is your greatest weapon. By the end, you'll know how to stop chasing love and make it fight to stay transforming your relationships forever. Don't miss this. It's not just insight, it's liberation. Are you ready to see what's been holding you back and unlock the power within you? Let's dive in. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please click the subscribe button and ring the notification bell to stay updated on all our latest content. Have you ever poured your heart into someone, offered them your time, your energy, your loyalty, only to realize that in their world, you were never truly a priority? I have. And I'll be honest, it hurts in a way that words can hardly capture. You show up, you care, you stay, you love. But somehow, you're still invisible in the places that matter most. And then, there she is, another woman who barely lifts a finger, who doesn't chase or beg, and yet she is cherished, pursued, and even adored beyond logic. It can feel like a cruel joke, but it's not about being good enough or doing more. It's not even about fairness. The truth runs much deeper, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. The difference doesn't lie in surface-level effort. It lies in what is stirred within a man's unconscious mind when he meets a woman who activates something ancient, instinctive, and emotionally magnetic. A man can be surrounded by women who are intelligent, beautiful, compassionate, and still not be moved. But then, out of nowhere, he encounters a woman who doesn't just walk into his life, she shakes something loose in him. And suddenly, everything changes. His priorities, his focus, his heart, they shift, not because she asked for it, but because something in him demanded it. The psychology behind this is utterly fascinating, and frankly, it explains so much about the heartbreaks we've lived through. For generations, male behavior has been sculpted by evolution and shaped by primal instincts. A man isn't hardwired to chase every woman he meets. No, his protector, provider, and lover instincts are only awakened when a woman represents something deeper to him, something symbolic, almost mythical. Carl Jung described this with the term archetypal projection. That's when a man looks at a woman and doesn't just see her face or figure, but sees an echo of something eternal, something he didn't even know he was looking for. Think back on the epic love stories we've heard since childhood, of kings surrendering their thrones, warriors laying down their weapons, and men giving up everything for one woman. Was it just about beauty? No. It was about the way these women made these men feel. It was about the way they awakened parts of the man that had been sleeping, buried beneath duty, pride, or logic. These women didn't use tricks or manipulation. They became a mirror for something sacred within him. And once he saw it, he could never unsee it. This isn't about learning how to get a man through tactics. It's about understanding a deeper kind of resonance, a soulful pull that goes far beyond appearances or behavior. The question every woman should be asking isn't how do I make him love me? It's how do I awaken something unforgettable in him? Because when that part of a man is lit, his devotion isn't forced, it's fierce, unshakable, and instinctual. You see, a man doesn't sit down and logically decide who to fall in love with. His heart doesn't take a vote. His subconscious leads the way. And when the right archetypes are awakened in him, when a woman embodies something timeless, he can't help but be drawn to her again and again. It's not fleeting passion. It's not lust in disguise. It's a soul-deep attraction that calls him to invest, to protect, to stay, not because he should, but because he must. And here's where so many women, including myself at times, have unknowingly gone wrong. We try to mold ourselves. We adapt, accommodate, give endlessly hoping that if we're just good enough, kind enough, patient enough, he'll finally see us. But that kind of love, built on silent sacrifice and emotional endurance, rarely touches a man's instincts. Instead, it makes him comfortable, even grateful, but not captivated. You might become a lovely companion. You might be admired, but will you be essential to his soul? That's another story entirely. What makes a woman unforgettable isn't how much she gives, it's what she awakens. Awakening isn't about playing games or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about returning to yourself, fully, radiantly. A woman who knows her worth, who embodies something beyond the surface, who doesn't need to beg for love. She is the one who haunts a man's heart long after she's left the room. Before we dive into the 3 powerful archetypes that stir this primal devotion, we have to face a painful truth. So many of us have been taught to believe that we'll be loved more if we earn it, if we're softer, sweeter, more forgiving. But men don't fall in love out of guilt. They don't commit because we've proven ourselves. They commit when they feel like they've found something rare, something that stirs their ancient longing, something they didn't know they were missing until they looked into your eyes and saw home. So no, you are not too much. You are not unworthy. You are not invisible because you lack something. Sometimes we simply haven't tapped into the deeper current that calls a man forward, not just to love us, but to fight for us, to protect us, to choose us. And when you do, my God, nothing will ever be the same again. Let me ask you a question that could change everything about how you see love and relationships, one that may shake you to your core. Do you want to be the woman he likes, the one he respects, and maybe even cares about? Or do you want to be the woman he would risk everything for? The one who turns his world upside down, not because she demands it, but because he simply cannot imagine life without her. If your heart whispers the second option, if you're tired of being the one who always tries harder, gives more, and waits longer, then it's time to stop searching for answers in the wrong places. Because the truth isn't found in playing it cool, looking perfect, or giving endlessly. The truth is buried deep in the masculine psyche. And once you understand how a man thinks, what awakens his primal drive to protect, pursue, and commit, you'll stop chasing love and start attracting it with quiet power. And here's where it gets incredibly profound. The answer doesn't lie in modern dating advice or viral tricks. It lies in ancient psychological truths, in what Carl Jung called archetypes, universal patterns that live inside the unconscious mind and shape how men relate to the women in their lives. These archetypes are not gimmicks. They're the hidden codes that determine which women men merely notice and which ones they never forget. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons helpful, please comment number 1 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. In the next part, we'll explore these archetypes and unveil how to naturally stir a man's masculine essence in a way that is raw, real, and irresistible. Because once you tap into this level of attraction, love stops being a painful chase. It becomes something that finds you, that pursues you, that fights to stay, not because you begged for it, but because you became the woman his soul recognized before his mind understood it. But before we go there, I want you to pause and be honest with yourself. Has this ever happened to you? Have you loved with every fiber of your being? Have you been the one who stayed, who supported, who sacrificed, the one who waited up for a text that never came, stared at the phone praying for a sign? He still cared or looked at him across the room and felt the crushing pain of emotional distance, even though he was right there. And then, to add salt to the wound, you watched as other women who didn't seem to try half as hard were worshipped, adored, and eaten like queens. And it made you wonder, what's wrong with me? Why do they get the love I'm aching for? Why am I always the giver, the fighter, the one who gets left behind? If that question has haunted you in the silence of your bedroom or the middle of a crowded room, please hear me now. The problem is not you. You are not broken. You are not unlovable. You are not lacking. The truth is something most women were never taught. Love isn't earned by effort. It's not a reward for good behavior, patience, or sacrifice. It's not a prize for being the most devoted or the most loyal. Love, in its most potent form, is a reflection, a mirror of what is triggered deep inside the other person. And here is where Carl Jung's most powerful concept comes into play: psychological projection. You see, the human mind doesn't see reality as it is. It sees reality through the filter of our internal world. Everything we perceive is colored by our past, our emotions, our beliefs, and our unconscious patterns. We don't just see people, we project onto them what we carry inside. And men? They're no different. A man can stand in front of a woman who is loving, present, and beautiful in soul and spirit, and yet feel nothing that urges him to stay. He might appreciate her, he might be grateful, but he won't move mountains for her. And then, seemingly without reason, he meets another woman, one who might not be doing anything particularly remarkable on the surface, and something inside him clicks. A fire is lit, and in that moment he thinks, I can't lose her. I don't even know why, but I just can't. And when that happens, when that unconscious part of him awakens, it's not logic that drives him. It's not pressure, guilt, or persuasion. It's instinct. He moves toward her not because he should, but because something deep inside him needs to. Because she doesn't just exist in his life. She suddenly becomes a vital part of his inner world. She reflects something sacred back to him, something he didn't even know he was longing for. Jung taught us that people don't fall in love with who we are, but with what we represent in their inner world. A man doesn't fall in love with reality. He falls in love with what you awaken in his reality. And this is why some men give everything, while others remain detached even in the face of the most generous love. So, hear me, from one woman to another, it's not about being better. It's about being aligned with something that touches the masculine soul. And once you learn how to activate that naturally, authentically, without games, you'll never have to prove your worth again, because he'll feel it without explanation. And when a man feels that you are the one who stirs something sacred within him, you won't have to ask for love. He will give it freely, fiercely, forever. Are you ready to uncover these hidden archetypes and unlock the part of him that already longs to love you in this way? Because the moment you do, everything you thought you knew about love will start to make sense. Love. It's not born in reason, and it doesn't bloom in the cold logic of the mind. No, real love is a fire lit in the unconscious. For a man, what determines whether he'll fight for a woman, cherish her, protect her, and commit his life to her isn't always what she does for him, but how her presence reflects something sacred back to him, something tied to his very identity. It's not about facts. It's about feeling. It's not about fairness. It's about what is awakened inside him. Carl Jung once said, "Everything that is not made conscious manifests as fate," and how true that is. Most men don't even understand why they're drawn to certain women. They just feel it without being able to name it. They follow the pull of something ancient, instinctual, and deeply embedded in their subconscious. They don't decide to love. They are moved by love when the right woman stirs the right archetype in them. And inside the male mind, beneath the armor, the logic, the bravado, there are three timeless archetypes. When these are activated, something powerful happens. He prioritizes her, protects her, and values her in a way that he can't quite explain, because it doesn't come from the mind, it comes from the soul. The first is the guardian archetype. This one speaks to the oldest part of a man's nature, the deep, primal need to be a protector, to have purpose. Since the beginning of time, men have fought battles, built civilizations, and risked everything to protect what they cherished. But this instinct doesn't awaken for every woman. No matter how giving, loyal, or patient she is, if she doesn't spark this instinct, he won't rise for her. He only becomes the guardian when he feels she is someone irreplaceable, not because she is weak, but because she is precious. A rare jewel in a world full of glass. A woman who embodies something so unique that the mere thought of losing her shakes him to his core. And that's why some women, without demanding anything, inspire men to become warriors, while others give their all and receive almost nothing in return. Because it's not about how much you give, it's about what your presence awakens in him. The second is the challenge archetype. Let's be real, men are wired to conquer, not in a manipulative or cruel way, but in the sense that their soul is stirred by what they must pursue. When everything is handed to them without depth, when a woman loses herself in pleasing him, the unconscious male mind sees it as common, predictable, even disposable. It's not her fault. It's how he's wired. But a woman who honors her individuality, a woman who has dreams, passions, and a life that doesn't orbit around a man, that woman becomes unforgettable. Not because she's withholding, but because she's whole. Her mystery isn't in games, it's in the fact that she doesn't need him to complete her. She lives fully, richly, authentically. And in doing so, she becomes the kind of woman he wants to win over every single day. She's not a destination, she's an ever-unfolding journey. The third and most powerful is the mirror archetype. This one is the game changer. Because here's the truth, most people don't say out loud. A man doesn't truly fall in love with a woman, he falls in love with who he becomes when he's around her. If he feels capable, respected, strong, and needed in her presence, he will give her everything. Not out of duty, but out of desire. Because she reflects the best parts of him to himself, she makes him feel like a man, like a king. But if he constantly feels criticized, small, or like he's never enough when he's with her, he will pull away. Not because she's doing something wrong, but because his inner world is telling him, this isn't where I rise, this isn't where I thrive. And no man wants to stay in a place where he feels like a disappointment. Here's the raw, heartbreaking truth so many women need to hear. If a man doesn't feel like he has to earn your presence, he won't fight to keep it. If he senses that no matter how he shows up, you'll always be there, he won't fear losing you. And without that fear, without that sacred value, there is no urgency in his soul to rise, to protect, to claim. And so many women, amazing, loving, beautiful women, get caught in this vicious cycle of overgiving. They give more. They prove more. They bend, shrink, sacrifice, all hoping that one day he'll see their worth. But here's what I've learned, and I say it with love. True worth is never proven. It is felt. It is seen. It imposes itself boldly and quietly without needing to be explained. A woman who knows this doesn't chase. She doesn't beg. She becomes the kind of woman a man can't help but see, feel, and move toward. Because something about her whispers to his soul, this is what you've been searching for. When a woman embodies these three archetypes, when she allows the guardian, the challenge, and the mirror to live through her, she doesn't just attract love, she awakens it. And the right man, the one who is aligned with her spirit, won't hesitate. He will step forward, not because he's told to, but because his entire being knows. She is the one I was meant to protect. She is the one I want to pursue. She is the one who reminds me of who I truly am. And once a man feels that, everything changes. But let's be honest, this kind of transformation, this deep shift in how a woman shows up in love does not just happen overnight. It takes more than reading advice or repeating affirmations. It requires a raw and honest reckoning with yourself, your patterns, your pain, and the parts of you that kept shrinking just to keep the connection alive. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons helpful, please comment number 2 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Take a moment, close your eyes. Go back in time, not to the highlight reel, but to the hidden corners of your memory. Can you remember a moment when you gave everything you had to someone and it still wasn't enough? Maybe it was a relationship where you bent until you nearly broke. You were patient when he was careless and understanding when he was cold. You swallowed your truth just to avoid one more argument. You told yourself, it's okay, he's just stressed, when deep down your soul was starving for warmth. You softened your voice, made concessions, adapted to his moods, and carried the emotional weight of two people hoping that maybe, just maybe, he'd wake up one day and realize how lucky he was to have you. And yet, all you got in return was silence, or worse, indifference. The unanswered texts, the coolness in his tone, the way his eyes didn't light up when you walked in the room anymore. Those little signs that felt like emotional daggers, whispering the truth you didn't want to face. You are no longer his priority. And then came the question that haunted you, what did I do wrong? I've asked myself that very question on tear-soaked pillows and long drives home, trying to replay every moment, wondering where I failed. But here's what I've learned. It's not always about what you did. Sometimes it's about what he no longer feels. So pause with me. Let's dig deeper. What happens in a man's mind when he begins to drift? Does he always leave because another woman entered the picture? Or could it be that something in him, the part you once stirred, has grown silent? Here comes the hard truth. A man doesn't walk away because he wants to. He walks away because he feels he can. And that realization, as brutal as it is also the most liberating truth you will ever embrace. Because it puts the power back in your hands, not to control him, but to reclaim yourself. There's a concept most women haven't been taught enough, yet it's the foundation of attraction and long-term commitment. It's not sex, it's not sacrifice, it's not even loyalty, it's respect. And I'm not talking about the surface level, polite kind of respect that everyone deserves as a human being. No, I'm talking about a deep, unshakable respect that touches something primal in the male instinct. It's the kind of respect that makes a man look at a woman and think, she is the one I will not lose. It's not demanded, it's earned by how she carries herself and how she lives. You see, the respect that anchors a man to a woman for life doesn't come from how much she gives him. It comes from what she gives herself. Now take a breath and ask yourself honestly, in your relationships, how much self-respect have you truly shown? Think about the times you lowered your standards just to be chosen. The times you quieted your voice to keep the peace, even when your soul was screaming. The moments you stood in emotional limbo, waiting for him to decide your worth when deep down, you knew you should have walked away the moment he hesitated. And now, let me ask you a painful but necessary question. Have you taught men to value you? Or have you allowed them to take you for granted? You don't need to answer me. You already know the answer. Because whether a man says it or not, he feels it. He feels when a woman respects herself. He senses when she's living from her core, not from her craving for validation. And that sensing, that instinct, that's what decides whether he leans in or checks out. And it's not about big speeches or dramatic scenes. It's in the smallest of things. It's how you react when he pulls away. Do you chase, or do you let the distance speak for itself? It's how you respond when he delays his replies. Do you panic and overcompensate, or do you trust in your rhythm, your worth? It's in the way you carry yourself when you feel unseen. Do you shrink or do you stand a little taller and walk away with grace? Because until you stop disrespecting yourself, until you stop giving more than you're receiving, excusing behavior, is wrong, and staying longer than your spirit can take, you'll keep experiencing the same heartbreak in a different body. And here's something most women don't realize. Men can't always explain it, but they know when they're in the presence of a woman who will not betray herself for love. And that is the woman they fight for. That is the woman they respect. That is the woman they commit to, not out of guilt, but from a deep inner knowing that she is worth rising for. So if you've ever felt like you gave everything and still lost, maybe it's time to stop giving more and start giving differently. Give to yourself first. Pour into your cup. Speak your truth, even if your voice shakes. Walk away when your boundaries are broken, even if your heart wants to stay. Because the moment you return to your power, you won't have to ask a man to see your worth. He will feel it, and he will fight to stay in the presence of it. Now, I want you to lean in and hear this, because what I'm about to say is something that far too many women overlook, often until it's too late. Men don't just wake up one day and decide to stop caring. The fading doesn't come with fireworks or clear warnings. No, it's subtle, like a quiet breeze that slowly becomes a storm. At first, it's small. You notice his replies take longer. He seems distracted when you speak, and land less enthusiastic when you share your heart. He stops asking deep questions. Suddenly, the plans you once made together weekends away. Future dreams start disappearing into silence. He avoids talking about the future altogether, and by the time your heart finally catches up to what your intuition has been whispering all along, he's already gone. Emotionally, at least. Even if his body is still next to you on the couch, his soul isn't. Why does this happen? Because somewhere along the way, he stopped seeing you as his priority. He may not even realize it. But once a man begins to sense that you'll always be there, no matter what, no matter how he shows up, his attention wanders. His instincts go quiet. And while he may stay out of comfort, he's looking around, wondering if there's more out there that will stir what has gone numb inside of him. But this doesn't have to be your story. Let's step outside the heartbreak and reframe the narrative for a moment. I want you to think of a man you deeply admire, not the one who broke your heart, but one who showed up with love. A man who made sacrifices, who protected, who proved through actions, not words, that he valued a woman. Maybe it was someone you knew personally, or maybe just a story that stuck with you. Now pause. Who was the woman he did all that for? Was she someone who begged for attention? Did she exhaust herself trying to prove her worth? Or was she the kind of woman who simply knew who she was? The kind of woman who didn't chase love, but held herself to a quiet standard of dignity and strength? That reflection is important, because it reveals the truth we don't always want to hear. Men don't fall in love with a woman's sacrifice. They fall in love with the value she believes she already has. And here's the hard part, but also the most freeing truth of all. That value is not rooted in what she does for him. It's rooted in what she demands for herself. It's in the invisible line she draws that says, "I will love you deeply, but I will not lose myself to keep you." If you're wondering what separates the woman he forgets from the one he can't stop thinking about, let me give it to you straight. An unforgettable woman isn't the one who gives the most. She's the one who knows when to stop giving. She's the woman who knows that love cannot be sustained by overextending herself while her needs are ignored. She watches how she's being treated, and when she sees that she's being taken for granted, when she notices the growing gap between what she gives and what she receives, she doesn't start doing more to fix it. She steps back. She reclaims her center. She honors herself by walking away if necessary. She doesn't scream for validation or beg to be chosen. She doesn't lower her standards to make space for inconsistency. Because she knows this. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons helpful, please comment on number 3 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. True power lies in not being afraid to lose someone who can't see your worth. And ironically, tragically, beautifully, powerfully, that is exactly what stirs a man to act. You see, a man only begins to fight for something when he fears losing it. He doesn't stay because of how much you've invested. He stays because of how much he stands to lose. Have you ever seen a woman like this? She's not the most beautiful in the room by conventional standards. She's not loud, flashy, or performing for attention. And yet, every eye is on her. There's something about her, something you can't quite name, but you feel it the moment she walks in. She doesn't try to stand out. She doesn't need to. Men lean in when she speaks. They try harder around her. They remember her name. Meanwhile, other women who seem to say and do all the right things fade into the background, ignored, sidelined, or kept on hold until it's convenient. What makes the difference? It's not her looks. It's not her charm. And it's not even her personality. It's what she doesn't show. It's the mystery, the untouchable essence, the quiet confidence that says, "You may come close, but you will never possess me unless you prove you are worthy." And that right there is one of the most magnetic forces in human attraction, because our minds are wired for curiosity, for challenge, for mystery. Since the beginning of time, men have been shaped by the hunt, by the pursuit. They didn't survive by taking what was easy. They evolved by fighting for what was rare. And that instinct, it still lives in the male psyche. So, no, being unforgettable isn't about being the most giving, the most agreeable, or the most available. It's about being the woman who knows she's the prize, who doesn't need to prove it, but whose presence makes a man feel he's been handed a rare opportunity. And if he senses that he can lose her, if he feels that sacred edge of mystery, self-respect, and power, he won't hesitate to rise, to choose, to stay. So the real question is, are you ready to become that woman? Because she already lives inside you. She's the part of you that remembers who you were before the world told you to settle. She's the voice inside that says, "I am worthy of more, and I'm not afraid to wait for it." And once you embody her, you won't chase love. Love will find you and never want to let you go. Let's go deeper now, because what I'm about to share is one of the most overlooked truths in relationships, and yet it holds the key to lasting desire. You see, the instinct for mystery never truly dies in a man. It remains active, especially in love. A man can be attracted to many women. He can even enjoy spending time with someone. But when it comes to commitment, the kind that anchors his heart and locks his gaze, he only devotes himself fully to the woman who keeps the dance of discovery alive. Think about that. If a man feels like he already knows everything about a woman, if she's always available, always emotionally open, always easy to reach, and quick to respond, then his brain quietly registers. This has already been conquered, and once something feels fully conquered, it no longer excites him. It's not cruel. It's not heartless. It's instinct. It's how men are wired, not just in love, but in life. Want proof? Look at how a man treats the things he's worked the hardest for. That dream car he saved up for years to buy, he parks it like it's gold. That promotion head round for, he shows up early and fights to keep it. The hobby he struggled to master, he pours his time and energy into improving every week. And in love, it's the same. A man treasures what he's had to earn, what doesn't come easy, what challenges him not through manipulation or games, but through presence, self-respect, and mystery. Have you ever noticed how men become laser-focused when they're working towards something just beyond their reach? Whether it's a goal, a passion, or a relationship, it's the chase, the investment, and the process of discovery that drives them. And here's the most fascinating part. This isn't just a theory. Science backs it. A groundbreaking study conducted at the University of Rochester revealed that men are more intensely attracted to women who maintain a certain level of mystery. In this study, some men were given detailed background information about a woman they were going to meet, while others were told almost nothing at all. The results? The men who knew less were significantly more attracted. Why? Because the human brain craves completion. When details are missing, the mind starts filling in the blanks, often in idealized, emotionally charged ways. It's the curiosity gap, and it lights up the same part of the brain that fuels excitement, desire, and long-term attraction. And so, let's be honest with ourselves now. How many times in your life have you given everything away too soon? You opened your heart fully. You shared every wound, every childhood memory, every fear, every hope. You became emotionally naked, believing that transparency would bring you closer. And instead, he lost interest. Not because you weren't worthy, not because you weren't enough, but because the mystery was gone. And when mystery disappears, curiosity dies. When curiosity dies, the excitement fades. And without excitement, there can be no emotional magnetism, no electricity, no reason for him to stay engaged and invested. But let's be clear here. Mystery isn't manipulation. It's not about playing hard to get. It's not pretending to be disinterested. It's not about making him chase for fun or faking aloofness to seem desirable. Mystery is sacred. Mystery is about being whole within yourself. It's about living a life so rich, so fulfilling, so grounded in your passions, dreams, and energy that your world doesn't shrink around a man when he enters it. Let's shift the narrative now with a powerful image. Imagine two women. The first is endlessly available. She replies the moment he texts. She tells him everything she's thinking and feeling. She's always there, waiting, adapting, showing up fully, even when he doesn't. Her life starts to revolve around him, and she slowly forgets what made her shine before he showed up. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons helpful, please comment on number 4 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. The second woman? She loves deeply, but she doesn't disappear into someone else's story. She's engaged, but not enmeshed. She gives, but not everything, not all at once. She lets him discover her, bit by bit. Layer by layer, she lives fully with or without him. And that quiet power speaks volumes. So let me ask you, which woman will a man fear losing? Which one will keep him thinking, wondering, leaning in? The answer is clear. And here's the truth we don't like to admit. A man won't fight to keep what he knows he already has. If you're always there, always compromising, always adapting, you become familiar, predictable, safe. And while safe might be comfortable, it doesn't spark desire. Desire is ignited by the unknown. And yet, men often say the opposite, don't they? I don't like games. I want someone real, someone predictable, someone transparent. Yes, they say that. But their actions, their longings, their obsessions, they reveal something else entirely. Men are drawn to the mystery like moths to a flame. They may not even understand why they're captivated by a woman, but they are. They can't stop thinking about the woman who doesn't over-explain, who doesn't overshare, who doesn't rearrange her entire life to make space for them, because she carries something they can't quite name. And that something is what keeps them emotionally hooked. Look around. Think back. How many women have you seen who gave everything, every piece of themselves, only to be left behind when the man grew restless? And how many women have you seen who didn't chase, who didn't offer herself on a silver platter, but who somehow owned his attention without ever having to beg for it? That's not luck. That's not manipulation. That's embodied mystery. That's self-respect and self-containment. That's the courage to let a man earn the right to know you. Because the truth is, you don't owe your full story to anyone right away. You don't have to unpack your soul just to be loved. And you don't have to lose your sense of self just to be chosen. You are the prize. And when you remember that, you don't fear being misunderstood. You don't over-explain or overshare. You simply live beautifully, authentically, and let him step forward if he can meet you there. And if he doesn't, you don't crumble. You rise, because mystery may be what draws him in, but self-worth is what keeps you grounded, even if he walks away. So, now, let me ask you from the heart, after everything we've explored together, what have you learned? Have you seen yourself in the woman who gave too much, too soon? Have you realized how mystery, self-respect, and inner value are more powerful than any sacrifice? Or maybe you've finally understood that love doesn't grow from constant. Giving it grows from being whole, from allowing yourself to be discovered, piece by sacred piece. Now it's your turn. Comment below and share one thing you've learned from this video, one powerful truth you're ready to carry into your life and relationships starting today, whether it's reclaiming your mystery, setting stronger boundaries, or simply learning to stop chasing love and start embodying it. Your voice matters. And if this video spoke to your soul, if it made you feel seen or helped you shift your perspective in any way, please leave your comment below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's more coming your way, more truth, more healing, and more power to help you become the woman who no longer waits to be chosen, because she already knows her worth. Thank you for watching. And remember, you are not too much. You are just enough for the right man who's ready to rise to meet you.